Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stunner, with another episode of VSW. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. It's your boy, Versace Stunner, alongside with the Sable here with another exciting edition of VSW. Tonight, we're talking a great live show.
Oh, we're going to be talking about this, all right.
New England Allstar
Wrestling.
A great, I would say a newer promotion. It's been around a couple of years. It was the first time the VSW went out to this show. And it was their first show back from the pandemic. And, I have to say, it was a great show. I had a great time. It was a great atmosphere.
The crowd was really into it too, Versace.
The crowd was something else, something I've very rarely experienced nowadays in wrestling. And we'll go into all that and more in detail on this episode. But let's just jump right into that opening matchup. We saw, the natural one. Channing Thomas.
Alongside Brett Ryan Gosling.
Yep, BRG was his, I would say bucket boy for this. But yeah, he was.
Her cheerleader.
Yeah, cheerleader, bucket boy. He was doing it all.
Against high flyer Jason Blade.
Jason Blade's a super high flyer. The athleticism that he possessed, rivals some of the top WWE stars of today. The flips that he can do in his in-ring ability.
Reminds me of the Sedal brothers in AEW.
Yeah, really, really does. But, let's talk about Channing for a second. First of all, the physique on Channing.
That physique is amazing.
He is built, and he has made major gains. He's gotten better, If you followed him throughout his career, he's gotten a lot better. No matter the promotion, no matter, where he's at, he's always delivering. And that's what I like
about him. Always got that smile, don't he?
He does. And that's what I like about Channing, though. He always delivers, and he, you can always expect that level from him. I've never watched a Channing match being like, I'm going to fall asleep, but this is going to be a bad match. It's always a good match.
How can you with BRG as a manager?
And that's another thing. You have, his sidekick there, BRG, outside the ring, bantering off with the, crowd. They don't like him so much.
And he had a weird obsession grabbing Blade's legs the whole match.
Oh, yeah.
He blocked Blade from jumping over the top rope on the Thomas.
But, that's what I don't think you young school fans understand, is that's how managers worked back in the day in the 80s. Managers would do things, to get their man to win. Whether that be, pull the ropes down, let the other guy fall out, pull their legs, stop the count, whatever it took. Maybe even pass your man a foreign object into the ring to get the victory.
And Channing Thomas had most of the momentum with knee drops to the limbs, but Blade, in the middle of the match, countered the momentum with a cutter.
That cutter, I think, it definitely stopped Channing in his tracks and slowed him down, and it was basically all downhill from there. Even with BRG on the sidelines, I don't think it was just enough to overcome.
If anything,
the athleticism.
Sidelines came back to bite Channing in the ass, because Channing, when he was going to spear Blade dodged and he accidentally hit BRG, Channing Thomas, and then he did the crossroads Blade onto Channing Thomas, and then he went over the top turnbuckle and did a moonsault, and it grabbed him the 1, 2, 3 victory for the night.
It did, but I don't think that Channing Thomas was too happy with BRG after that matchup. You could see the upsetness in his face. BRG failed him.
Absolutely. And another promotion, which I won't get into, he's failed them all right.
He's failed them on multiple levels. He's I think Channing is going to, start to maybe distance himself a little from BRG, and that could be fine. But then you never know, it all depends. It all honestly depends. They have a bond, and, mistakes happen. Maybe he will forgive BRG in this, and they will be able to overcome it, and, we'll see what happens and who he faces, at the next event.
And are you ready to move on?
I sure am.
So you got, which was built like a squash match where one of the wrestlers didn't really have an entrance. He just came in. So this match is Pure Greatness, Daniel Alexander, versus an up-and-coming here, Darley Desimont.
I didn't know any of these guys coming into this match, and I loved it. I love watching matches where I don't know anybody.
Like, you really thought it was just going to be a quick squash match, but that wasn't the case.
I always do think there's going to be a squash match when there's a wrestler already in the ring. That's how, if you've ever watched the early Monday Night Raws, there was one man that would be in the ring already, and then the superstar would come out and win. And that's how that format went for many, many years until they started having actual, matches with, every match was a superstar versus superstar. But, when you see that, I was a little surprised. But they gave me a very, very high-paced, high-energy match, which surprised me.
There were a lot of reversals and aerial moves.
Oh, they were both
fast-paced.
It was a very fast-paced movement set, and for both of these guys. And this is what I was trying to say earlier. What I like about going into a match where I don't know either wrestler is that I don't know what I'm going to expect. I don't know what I'm going to see. When you do watch the same wrestler over and over again, you get to learn their moves. You kind of get to know, what they're going to do next. What their tendencies are. When you see someone fresh, you don't know, and everything's kind of a surprise, and this is what this match was for me. And like I said, it was very fast-paced, very high-moving. It just was full of energy. That's all I can say. It was just a ball of energy.
It really was, but it ended up being the heel, Darley Desimont, with a running DDT, getting the victory for the night.
And that was, I think, at that point, he deserved that win. That finishing move was unbelievable. And, he deserved that win.
Absolutely. Are you ready to move on, Versace?
I sure am.
All right. So we got a promo with Rich Palladino with reigning New England All-Star champion, Endgame, Paul Jourdain.
Not just reigning, undefeated in reigning.
And I'm surprised half the people didn't snap into dust. Get it? Endgame? He ain't no Thanos. He's way thinner.
But I'll tell you one thing. He's just as strong. And he basically came out, talked to the fans, and he issued an open challenge.
And here coming in is SWB, Slick Wagner Brown, answering this open challenge and
I have
having
to say,
a few words.
I have to say he was maybe, a millisecond from winning the title, okay? He was very, very close. He gave 100%, and he came up short.
You didn't know if he was a heel or a face in the beginning of the match until he won the bell ring. He bitch-slapped Jourdain after his promo when he accepted the open challenge, saying he's the best, and Jourdain got what he wished for.
Well, yeah, Jourdain did ask, send me your best. I don't know if he was the best. He certainly wasn't. Jourdain is still the best. That's just how it is. But, yes, the disrespect was there. He came out, he slapped him in the face.
And you had a little bit of product placement outside the ring with a Sprite bottle. Sprite can, I mean.
Oh, there was some good use of foreign objects in this match. This match was very physical. Both of these men were after each other, and, he wanted the title. He really, really wanted that title off of Jourdain. You could tell he tried. You could tell, he really gave it his all. And again, though, he came up short. Jourdain is undefeated. I don't know who could defeat him. There isn't many. I don't think there's anybody right now on that roster that can defeat Endgame and capture that title. And that's what makes you a champion, when you're the top of, the world.
Absolutely. Before I get into the post promo by SWB, what I'm going to say, I don't want to talk about it yet, but he could unify that title with something else. We'll get into that later.
Oh, he could. Yes, he could. But, this was just, like I said, it was a very exciting matchup that I wasn't expecting to see. It was announced right at the end, it was an open challenge, and somebody answered. It wasn't put on the card to begin with. It just said, we'd see Jourdain in action. It didn't say anything about a title match. And it was really cool to see, to close that first half of the show.
And SWB had a promo. He got exchanged with a Ric Flair lookalike, didn't he?
He did that, and that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about. This crowd was just immense. Like, everybody was into this 110%. And at the end, he wanted to talk, and he had some words, and he asked for the mic, and, the fans wouldn't let him. There was one guy, that Ric Flair, he had the robe, he had 2 gold belts, they were heavy, I held them, and I have to say, he basically put the dude in his place. He pulled the robe off at one point, screaming he was a vet. Everybody was 110 invested into this show, from the wrestlers to the fans. It was a wild time. But at the end of the day,
there was a lot of Irish limb targeting by both these men, but Jourdain ended up winning by using what looked like a Brock Lesnar F5 finisher, which I don't know the name of.
It was similar to that, yes. But, of course, all the fans were blamed
and
for the loss.
Believe it or not, this is the first show in 2021 we've been to with an intermission.
It was the first show in intermission. But the best part was when I think SWF blamed all of us for his loss. I think that was the best, and you could tell he was just frustrated. He came very close, but he is not the best. He is not the champion. And, like I said, I don't think there's anybody right now that could beat Endgame.
You got to be careful with who you blame. It might get a reaction, and we certainly did from this match right after intermission, didn't we, Versace?
Oh, my God. I mean, like I said, this show just was unbelievably crazy. It was just fucking insane. It just got crazier and crazier. Like I said, between that Ric Flair guy coming out, doing his thing, and whenever he took off the robe, you could see he was built. He was a vet. He was ready to throw down right then and there. He had double gold belts. There was other fans that were sitting there. They were starting with, some of the tag teams there. They were ready to throw down as well earlier. There was just a lot of high energy from the fans. I think everybody was just overexcited to be back. It was great, though. If you were in there, we were there. We were right there, front and center. And we got to see it all, and we could feel it all.
The seating was awesome.
The seating was awesome.
Even if you didn't have front row, it was an okay show not to have it.
It was. In some shows, you're not going to see nothing unless you're in that front sphere. In this, no matter where you sat, you saw it was very clean atmosphere. It was very clean arena that they used within the gym. Everything was very modern, sleek, and clean. I loved it. I did hear that it was being streamed on some kind of a network. If you go to
not Fight
it's not
TV,
Fight TV though. It's another independent wrestling network. It's not IWTV either. I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. I know if you go to the New England, website and you check out their stuff, they will tell you where. And I believe it's for sale. And I'm tempted to kind of watch it just to see what the video footage of it looked like. How it was filmed and how the cuts and stuff looked. But, being in the arena live, it was beautiful. Everything was lit up bright. You could see the ring. I just was talking to somebody earlier tonight about how, ring lighting plays a huge part of a show. And if, the ring isn't lit up enough and it's too dark, it just becomes this gloom fest. And, it can be kind of boring. Almost like studio television, just very boring. But, with just a change of a light and the right spotlights on the ring and just, it can make the whole difference. And, that's what they did here, and it just did make a difference. Like I said, kudos to the team and the production team for putting everything together. It was done perfectly. But, yeah, let's keep going on with this card, shall we?
All right. The first match post-intermission, you got, which was like a local enhancement town like you would see. This wasn't a 5-star match, but oh boy, it didn't have to be. It is something people talk about, and it wasn't because of the match. This is TJ from Weymouth versus Spencer Slade, a submission specialist.
This kid was local. He was from the area. I think it was his first match. He
was so emotional. He felt like he was at a Raw or WWE tape. He gave a shout out to his dad.
I love that, though. That's family, That's what it's all about. You live your dreams. He's probably trained for a few years under somebody. And, now is his time to shine. He gets to do it in front of his dad. Like, how could you be not more proud? As either the father and the son, both of them, it's a real moment for family. And that's what I think we saw here. The passion in that kid, brand new, was just great,
He did try his best with the reversals, but it wasn't enough. There was a lot of elbow drops and stomps to the heads with him.
But I'll tell you one thing, though. Before the match even began, I think he caught the eye of the sponsor for this match. Sponsor was out there. He was a real estate agent. He was selling real estate, talking about it. And he said he loves to scout talent. And I don't know if he's from wrestling, if he's a wrestling promoter or whatnot, but he definitely was there to scout. He said some talent. I think he was invested in this match, too. But, that kind of gave a flare because I was watching him, and he was really invested in this young kid.
Said flare, I had to whoop.
Yeah. He was really invested in this up-and-coming kid. I think the whole crowd was invested in him. I think they were rooting for him. He was the local favorite. It reminded me of like something out of 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Razor Ramon. But it ended up, for me, being something like of the mass transit incident. But we'll go into all that.
Oh, boy. But this kid lost. He tapped out pretty quickly after an anchor lock by Spencer Slade.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing. It's his first match in. He's going after a masterful technician that's going to devour your limbs. You could tell he was targeting his limbs all night. As soon as he had it locked, the kid was going to tap. He tapped. The problem wasn't the tap, though. The problem was he wouldn't let go of the tap. He was continuing the hold. That does a lot of damage to the limb. It hurts enough for the guy to give up and to end the match. And now you're not letting go. Do you know what kind of damage that can cause to a wrestler? That it's irresponsible. Very, very, very irresponsible. I've only seen something like that a few times in my life. Once Bob Backlund snapped, fucking put this guy in a chicken wing, wouldn't fucking let go. I think he broke his neck. I don't know. You have it sometimes, but this was a very scary situation. He wasn't letting go.
It's like watching early Ruthless Aggression era SmackDown with Brock Lesnar facing the one-legged wrestler Zach and beating him blood and throwing him into his mom.
Well, right after that, as you seen him screaming in agony and pain and not letting go, the ref had no control over this. He couldn't get him to break. The father, I think the father had nothing to do but get up and chase and charge the ring, and he charged the ring. He charged at the ring.
And this is an excellent holy shit moment by kudos to the owner of Booker of New England Allstars.
This was just fucking insanity.
Because we don't know if it was part of the script or not.
It wasn't. This was fucking insanity. What I'm telling you, it's like, because I was there, and he comes running towards the ring, and, the security that was there, the ring crew that was watching, the photographers, everybody, they pushed him, they pulled him back, they held him. They had him in a chokehold almost. And, finally somebody was like, release him. He's the kid's father. The kid finally got released from the hold, but, he was in pain. He has to go to the hospital. The father was able to make it to the ring. And in a rage of fury, the father assaults the fucking referee. Yeah, it's fucking unheard of. He assaults the referee. You can't do that. That's a big no-no. Yeah. First of all, you, as a fan, you can't put your hands on anybody. You can't assault a wrestler. You can't do that. You can't.
That's the referee's job, is to break up the guy that's being a perpetrator.
Exactly, and you're going to fucking assault him? So, I mean, they dragged him right out after that. As soon as he assaulted the ref, they put him back in the chokehold. They dragged him out of there. He was pulled off. You can find the videos on our YouTube. It's quite explicit. There's some language in there. It's quite graphic. You know, he's very upset. His son just got his leg possibly broken.
This could be on a syndication Moria Springer type incident.
Like I said, it's similar to the mass transit incident. You know, this kid comes in, you know, thinking it's one thing, and it's something totally different. And I don't think he was expecting his leg, you know, to be broken. You know, I heard the ref. I was sitting there. They were calling for the hospital. He was getting sent to the hospital. I don't know if they were giving. Hopefully, we get an update. And I got him. I read a message today.
TJ.
I read a message today from the promotion about this. And, you know, this is just their statement. May 24th, 2021. The stars and staff of New England All-Star Wrestling humbly extend their gratitude to all of our fans who were in attendance this past Saturday in Rockland for our long-anticipated return to live action. Unfortunately, there was an incident that occurred during the course of the event between two of our competitors that resulted in an injury, which subsequently led to an equally dangerous situation involving one of our fans in attendance. While we appreciate and encourage fan participation and enthusiasm at our live events, we must also advise for the safety and security of everyone involved that spectators should never approach the ring or wrestle at any time while an event is in progress. Any future violation of this protocol will result in immediate ejection from the building, and violators will also be subject to arrest and prosecution. New England All-Star Wrestling sincerely apologizes for any fans in attendance who may have been offended by the language and hostile nation displayed during the course of that incident. The parties at fault have been addressed and the proper measures have been taken to ensure an incident of this nature will never happen again. Thank you for all of your support. You know,
You're welcome.
That's a really bold statement by the company. I think it's a good way for them to, you know, to save face here. You know, it wasn't their fault. They didn't know, you know, the father was going to do that. They didn't know the wrestler was going to snap in the ring and just, you know, not let go. So, I mean, you know, kudos to everybody that's involved. They were able to, you know, subdue the situation pretty quickly, get, you know, the father out, get him to the hospital. I don't know what happened to, you know, the guy that started it all, you know.
Whether there's fines involved or anything.
If there's going to be fines, suspensions. I'm hoping to hear an update from New England All-Star Wrestling, or we hear something at the next show. You know, hopefully, you know, something happens to him that's he put everybody in a dangerous situation. You know, he just didn't, you know, that's unsportsmanlike. You know, you won the match, the kid tapped, just let him go. You don't need to fucking keep beating him until he can't walk again. You know, it's his first match, Jesus. You know, it might be his last now. Can't do that. But anyways, enough with all this negativity, you know. But that was one hell of a fucking holy shit moment at New England All-Star Wrestling. Like I said, you could catch some of the footage we have on our YouTube. I'm sure there's other footage floating around, too. It's just a wild night. Okay, next match up to Save Wolf.
All right, we won't get into this match too much because of the incident we talked about, cover a lot of time, and we'll have to cover the main event and what happened surrounding that, too. So, a tag team match between the team of Chocolate Royalty versus the Lion Dynasty of Robo and Nico.
You know, these two are my favorite up-and-coming tag team. I love them singly. I've seen them.
Robo's even on Dark.
He's been on Dark. Nico has wrestled all over the world.
I love this fast-paced energy of these guys.
These guys are great.
The chemistry between these two teams were excellent.
They have Young Bucks chemistry together. But, you know, singly, they have, you know, the stardom of Shawn Michaels and, you know, Triple H. But together, they're like the Young Bucks on the scene right now. They have this high-powered ferocity that Lions possess, and they're it. They're the pack, you know, and they can destroy, devour any team that comes in their way. This was a match that
had a mix of every wrestling style, whether it's slams, grappling, aerial, submissions.
It had everything.
It had a great balance.
It did.
With a fast-forward pace.
It really did have the pace, and I think, the Lion Dynasty brings the pace.
The crowd, the wrestlers, and the crowd, the frickin' adrenaline was off the frickin' roof, man.
Oh, yeah, I mean, between the match before and just the energy in that building and just everybody being back, like I said, there was just the fans and all the energy that's there. It was just, you could cut it with a knife. It was just great. It was electrifying, and this was just a great tag team match. It's the first time me seeing Chocolate Royalty. I was impressed very much by their ring presence and just how they overall displayed themselves and how they work together. I'm hoping to see more of them in the future, and I got to follow them around, see what other promotions I can find them at, or if they're just exclusively there. If I can find other matches on YouTube, that's my thing. I love to see new talent. I'll go on YouTube and see what I can find for matches.
Absolutely. Are you ready to move on, Versace?
Did you announce the winner, though, Say Wolf?
Ooh, I got carried away because it was so fast-paced that I forgot. The winners was Lion Dynasty of Robo, the Punjabi Lion, and Nico.
Exactly. And
they are amazing.
They are an amazing tag team. They're going to go very far in the indie scene. And, to the moon with them. Sky's the limit.
Like Doja's supposed to do. Ha.
Yep. They will, though. This one will actually take off. And this is one of my new favorite tag teams to emerge out. It's a great whole package. They're both Lions. They work together. It works. It works for me. The only, what I say, and I made a meme the other day on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. It had the Lion Dynasty with the lion in the back row.
Carol fucking Baskin.
Yeah, bitch, Carol Baskin. I had it right in the middle as the manager. And I was like, you know what? This would be big time.
So, if they ever do a heel turn, is one going to be the Scar and the other's going to be Mufasa, similar to how wrestling fans think of, like, Shawn Michaels or Marty Jannetty?
Ooh, they
the
could
Lions,
break up
it's
like that.
Scar and Mufasa, but one has to be can't be alive, so.
In a Lion Kings match, that would be something interesting someday, wouldn't it? But yeah, two of the top talent on the indie scene right now, that's Robo and Nico Silva there. So yeah, you gotta check it out.
All right, you ready to move on to the main event, Versace?
Yes.
The following is not only a high advertised match of this match, what really caught our attention between a guy who's got a lot of attention for his dark side of the ring with his father. You got Varsity Blonde in AEW and part of the Hart Dynasty in MLW, Brian Pillman Jr., the Promise Prince, versus the Kojo Toy Man himself, Teddy fucking Goods. He's got the goods.
New England's favorite wrestler. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say about Ted Goods.
The freaking theme song wakes you up, man.
This dude's a wrestler's wrestler. He's one of the best on the circuits, whether you've watched him Beyond Top Rope, wherever you've watched this guy wrestle,
he's a seasoned veteran, don't get me wrong, but with Briggs, Green, and Casanova out of the picture in New England, he's slowly becoming the face of New England indie wrestling, I think.
He's taking over, and with good cause and with good reason. He's good. And I think after this pandemic, he's been able to really build himself back up. He's done great work at Beyond. If you've watched any of those shows in the last couple of months, I know he's done this one. You have him, he's got himself at a few other shows coming up. And I've been impressed each and every show that I've been to.
It's really catching my eye. He's got the goods.
And, he got the main event here, and it was announced that it wouldn't even be a contenders match for the title, but it would be
a new junior New England heavyweight title, Versace.
That's right. Title on the line. Ted Goods, Brian Pillman Jr., and it was a match for the ages.
Grappling was so even. One of them couldn't even get a move until 3 minutes in. And there was a lot of blows and slaps being exchanged most of the match.
You could tell, though, that these two wrestlers knew what they were doing. I mean, yes, Brian Pillman's all over the TVs on AEW. Just had the match with the Young Bucks. Yeah, he's great, and everybody knows it. But Teddy Goods is toe-to-toe with this guy, neck-to-neck with this guy. He's, right there, maybe even better. Actually, I think he is actually better, but let that, for an opinion for another podcast.
But there were a ton of reversals in this match.
They were, but the athleticism was there on both of them, and it was, a very close contest, in my opinion. It wasn't one way or the other. Either man could have taken this match. Like I said, Ted Goods gave it all. He gave Pillman some hell.
With both chemistry between these men, there was a reverse. I remember one of my favorite moves in the night was when Good was running from the Irish whip rope, but Brian capitalized with a slam.
And that's what I love about Pillman Jr., that he is, very powerful, but he's also very athletic. He has high flying.
He even has a submission move that looks like The Undertaker's Ruthless Aggression, Hell's Gate, that Goods kicked out of.
I'm going to say it. I think he's, with the right training and the right, way he's going, he's going to exceed his father's, legacy in the end. I think he can. I think he's talented enough. I think he's very talented. You can see that on AEW. You can see that even more in the indie scene, though, where it's more or less scripted and he's got more control and he's more himself. He's great. He's a great wrestler, and you can't take anything away from that. But at the end of the day, he came to New England. He stepped into New England territory.
What really turned it from a 50-50 crowd reaction, from half wanted to root for Pillman, the other half was for Teddy Goods, was when he kicked Goods 5 in a row. The crowd chanted, and then he said, "Is this your guy?"
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is New England, and Teddy Goods is Mr. New England right now. He always is. He loves this. He loves this scene. He's dedicated to this scene. You can tell by his promos. You can tell by his ring presence. You can tell at his toy store. This is his home. He's going to take pride in that. And that's exactly what he did. He gave Pillman hell, and he took that title home. And he is your first inaugural champion. He actually
played possum to get that title, because he just got hit by a super kick by Pillman. And then we didn't think this match would end with it. He got him in a quick rollout.
He did. He knows his moves. He's a wrestling legend. He's trained by one of the best trainers in the world, Spike Dudley. He's trained some of the greatest wrestlers to make it to the big time. Look at August Gray, formerly Anthony Green. Look at Little Mean Kathleen. She's trained by Spike Dudley. You got all these greatness that comes out of Spike Dudley. And the list could go on, and that's what Teddy Goods brings to this table. And you can see a little bit of Spike in him. You can see what Teddy has brought to the table. You can see it all. And, he repped New England, and he did a damn good job. He beat Pillman Jr. He is the inaugural champion. What a party. What a party.
Until it got crashed.
Oh, the wedding party crasher, whatever you want to call it, happened. We got that minute of joy. We saw that respect, that mutual respect. I just want to talk about the respect that, Brian Pillman Jr. possessed, not only, I think, for the crowd, but also for Teddy Goods. I saw the handshake, the hug, the bow before him after the match. He was humbled. He was humbled before Teddy. And then it was, like the 1993 King of the Ring, spoiled very fast. A masked man came right in. He had a hoodie on, looking like CM Punk, ran right in and took Ted Goods out. I mean, he fucked him up. If they book
it right, this could be like a CM Punk versus John Cena type feud where they're looking for new faces to replace him. This is like I said earlier in this match, with Casanova, Green, and Briggs getting called up to WWE. These are the two biggest names in New England that are veterans now.
They are. And you know what? This masked man came in, he took Teddy Goods out, and he revealed to the crowd who it is, and it is JT Dunn. And this sets up a whole new world for things. I'm really loving this feud between these two. You could see it once it started. He revealed himself. JT Dunn is an amazing wrestler, an amazing person.
Maybe he got sent by Chaotic.
Yes, he is the Chaotic reigning champion as well, but he plays the bad guy so well. And he just, he can get under your skin. He can get under the wrestler's skin. The fans, you could say he was under their skin that night. You could tell they just were.
There were a lot of kids getting so sad too.
Kids were sad. Teddy was out. He was out and done. JT Dunn, they had to drag him outside. He's screaming through the plexiglass. He's fighting. This got very physical. Ted Goods finally got to his feet. This war is just beginning, and I can't wait to see where it goes. It makes me want to go to another New England Wrestling Pro show. It really does. It just really makes me want to get out there and see another show. I got to see what happens. I got to see what happens with Paul Dane. I have to see what happened, with that whole, incident. I want to see what happens, with this title. And what's JT Dunn going to do? Is he going to get a legit shot? Will Teddy Goods even grant him a shot after being attacked? Should he even grant him a shot? I mean, he took it in such a disrespectful way. I'm sure there's other people in that, division that deserves that title shot first besides just JT Dunn, who kind of just stole his way in there. So there's a lot of things that I think are going to come out of this show, and it's so good to have everybody back. It was a great show to be at. I saw a lot of familiar faces. I got to say hi to a lot of familiar people that I haven't seen over a year.
It's always a pleasure with Rich Palladino doing the ring announcing.
Yeah, Rich, it's great. He's the voice of New England. You have all these people and all this legendary stuff going on, and it was just a great, fun-filled night of wrestling. If you've never been to one of these shows and you're in the area, I suggest going to one because you will not be disappointed. Like I said, the fan base was great, very friendly. I met a lot of nice people out there, talked to a lot of nice people.
I love the setup, too, with the computer.
The setup, everything was clean. Everything was new. It just looked great. Seating arrangement was great. I know it was a limited capacity show, and I get all that, and down the line, there'll be a lot more people. But, what they had and what they worked with, it was great. And it just looked great. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. I said, like, on TV. I'm going to go and try to see that video because I really am interested in seeing what it looks like, from the TV screen. And I always like to hear also the commentary on these things. It's one thing being there live, but we don't get to hear the commentary of the match. We don't get to hear, maybe if there's some backstory to these feuds, they'll talk about it, and other things that happen on commentary that, the fans live don't get to hear. So I always like to go back, purchase it even if I have to. I don't care. Money's no option with the Versace Stoner. And I will love to, to rewatch the show I was at with the commentary and see it through the different perspective of the camera's view. And, the camera angles that they get, and see it in a whole different light. But I definitely suggest...
And learn the movesets of all these wrestlers, too.
Oh, yeah, you get to learn that, too, because they'll tell you. If you listen to the commentary, a good commentator will talk, good wrestling. But, yes, I definitely suggest checking out this promotion and, giving it a go, really. You will not be disappointed, I promise you that. And try to find this show and watch it if you can, because it's excellent.
It's really good. I can't wait till June, Versace.
Oh, me neither. I will be right back at it, and this will be great. So, with that notion in mind, I'm going to say, everybody, have a good night. Versace Stoner out.
Disable felt.